Well, I guess you're going to be awake for a while.
Yeah.
I'm going to see.
I have something really sassy to say on that, but now we're going live.
Okay.
So I can't
I'll keep the commentary.
Yeah, we won't start this meeting like we started the last one.
Yeah.
That is live to the world. FYI.
You went there. That was not.
No, he went there.
You went there.
You did,
No,
Lorraine.
you did.
That had nothing to do with me.
Oh, I saw it in your
I
eye.
was even part of the
I saw it in your eye.
He's giving.
So, have you ever been doing the
You know what
assistant
happened.
principal's work at the high school?
Ever been doing work?
Yeah, i.e. the discipline piece or whatever that they're hiring the second person for. Okay. So you'll just have less to do then when they hire us. I hope so. Gotcha. Plus, they're taking away your middle school job from you, so what are you exactly be doing?
David, you were digging a hole.
Is Jeff feeding you now? Is that what's going on here?
What's that?
Probably.
Jeff feeding you now?
Yes, from Jimmy John's. He's running Jimmy John's.
Don't
Trust
feed
me,
the
I don't
bear.
have enough food.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Is this just easy target day or what? Welcome back, Rob. That's what I get for trying to save this guy from digging a hole. Everybody takes pot shots at me.
Sorry, Scotty. Well, you look at the sound out there in the stadium?
I tried calling him back. The password to get into the PX 8000 wasn't working.
You don't need that for the sound.
Well, I tried to get the whole. No, I tried that too. I couldn't get it. I couldn't. That's why I was like, I knew you were busy.
Couldn't get sound.
I couldn't get anything. I couldn't get the buzzer. I couldn't get anything.
So the only thing you have to turn on the sound is just on for sound.
What?
I tried that.
Underneath,
I tried turning the sound and then trying to run the buzzer, you know, because the scoreboard, I can see the numbers.
I had the scoreboard on.
Yeah. I saw the numbers, but I couldn't get the horn to go off.
You didn't pull that up for us.
Well, I'm not worried about that.
Well, but I figured that was part of the sound system.
It's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay, my bad.
The horn on the scoreboard is just separate one.
Okay, I couldn't get anything.
Did they ever resolve the fiber being wrong?
No, we're working on it. Okay.
So do you want me to ask these people about self-keep?
Well, the issue is they shouldn't leave that in there. That should be part of that.
I left her a message.
Did you? Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no reason that they can't do that all at once. Well, I gotta do it for this done.
Yep.
The reality is, I did one of these when I converted the exact same key to a soft key for another client, and it took exactly 20 minutes. Because there's a tool that comes from the company that makes the hard keys.
But this doesn't say anything about keyboards.
No, it doesn't. No, this is separate. The keys.
So nice.
No, don't.
But they can include it in part of the process, and they should.
All right.
Yeah, the Aladdin key.
Good to know.
You got very.
The Aladdin's trying to get out of the hard key.
You're like rock on,
So,
right?
so when it sucks in, the hard key, then you're done. So I don't know what they're talking about, where it's a special, has to go to a special program.
Neither do I.
I think it's hard. But push comes to shove, we'll stay with the hard key. Stay with the hard key.
So I just didn't want it to hit your head.
It limits our ability to quickly come back up and get into your play. But that's all.
Yeah.
He does respond well to.
Glad you're on top of
They've been halfway.
So it's really hard.
Well, yeah, it's because we made the decision.
Sorry.
I wish. I think I was actually praise all
No, you'll see that.
That is-
Yeah, That's good.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Good to see you. We'll meet in May.
Hey, Corey, nice to meet you.
That's right. Ciao, John. Okay.
Thanks, Ed.
Mr. Potter, how are you today?
Let me check into that. No, I'm good.
Does it help towards?
Yeah, I saw that.
It is terrible.
I'm sorry.
I see a lot of accidents
Thank
on that
you.
where yellow crossing like that too.
Corey. It's not Corey. It's our new one.
Yes.
Mike Pearson.
Diane or?
That's more than David. Miss Corey also.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
We know this part.
Excellent.
Oh, wait, okay.
Potter?
Okay, I know.
She should not
Colorado.
No relation to Harry, but Keith.
Second by Keith.
Keith from.
Okay, check. Thank you.
You good? You good? Good. First item, approval of the agenda. David Potter.
Second by Keith.
Keith. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Third thing on the docket tonight, presentation by Polk County Supervisors.
Want to wait, Julie? Are you doing it yourself?
Well, they were on their way, but I don't know. Let me look outside.
We can continue and then when they come in.
Continue.
Yeah, the Prairie Meadows, yeah.
Flexibility account, public hearing and flexibility account.
So just call that the hearing to order. Ask for any comments.
Got a motion to open?
You just
Open,
call it.
open the flexibility account, public hearing. Any public comments? Okay. Close.
Hearing none, close it. All right. Item number 5, consent items. Minutes, bills, financials, personnel. The only comment, are we, furniture, is that the cheapest we can find?
For the elementary, we went to match, so we got a little more, but we don't want to do hodgepodge, but that's our main company. Mike's, that's a, like 2 classrooms full and it's working there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just,
Yeah, we're not trying to, it's not top of the line,
Okay.
but he's hodgepodge of junk in there. And now we finally have an office, is it multiple locations like that?
Multiple workstation tables.
Yeah, so there's tables, like the one, the driver's side, tables and chairs. Driver would be his side, a couple desks, filing, that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, how long is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just,
We're not, then they're not going crazy, and you can spend $5,000 on a cubicle pretty fast.
I'm just looking at my.
Everybody's here?
Okay. You want to stop, Joe, and then do the
Yep.
picture quick, and then
Yep.
come back to that?
We're going to circle back to
How are you? Good to see you.
Polk County Supervisors.
You got the stage.
Well, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Robert Brownell from Polk County Board of Supervisors, and we're here for our annual delivery of a check. This is a little smaller than usual. The actual physical paper check is trying to take some money around Polk County, so we're making it a little smaller. But your amount is about $2,000 more than last year, and that's a function of more students based on population. And also these guys tighten the machines up a bit, so.
Tighten up more.
Get higher. So anyway, but this year's amount is $22,212 and almost $113, and it's no strings attached to this, but we're happy to be part of this and happy to present this to you tonight, and we'll get official again. And my colleague from Prairie Meadows is here, Julie Stewart.
Perfect.
We are just proud that we've had we're celebrating our 30th year, our partnership with Polk County. And so with this great partnership, all of our dollars after expenses go back into the community. And so we've put over $12 million into the Polk County students. And we have given back over $1.8 billion to the state of Iowa. So with this partnership, everybody wins. So today we'll present the $22,000, and one of the things I always like to say is these are dollars that are unrestricted, and so then the school district can decide how you want to use them best. So, and both of us have great grant programs. Ours is closed for the year, but theirs opens up again in July, and then ours opens up every year January 1st, and we really encourage your school district to take advantage of that, because we don't get very many grants from over here.
Absolutely, and I have a real shake here for you. I know Dan would want to get out of here if I give him time, so.
You can just get right to that. Want to do a little for a picture with the board?
Sure. Great.
The little check.
All right, James, I need you to slide in there. You go. Back. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting us interrupt your meeting.
Oh, you're good. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Take care. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, nice timing.
Consent items?
Okay, back to your consent items.
Any questions, comments?
You want me to go down, tell me when you're vendor partnership, you want me to go down those, Joe?
Nope. Dave, I heard your comments about the bills and whatnot.
Yep. Randy, that mentioned.
Yep. So, Randy, we're,
Back down the corner.
has anybody kind of kept track of mechanical breakdown, what we would have spent on that insurance policy versus what we would have spent?
We will run that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, so that we know where we would have been this year. Yep.
okay, all right, sounds good, thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Any questions on those? And vendor partnership?
All right, I'll just run down those. Number 1, big tray oven for food service. Any questions, comments on that, Jeff? You need to, pretty self-explanatory. Number 2, Center for Clean Energy, it's like a purchasing consortium for natural gas, Randy, right, natural gas that we belong to. You want to talk about number 3, Randy, control system specialist. This is something we've had on the docket for a couple of years to get done.
Our system currently runs off of Java, and Java is kaput.
Our building control systems?
Yeah. And so we need to convert it to HTML so that it will function. Right now I'm operating on either a Java window that is ancient or a browser that is ancient so that I can run the program. It's desperately needed. we've been holding off just out of, didn't want to spend the money on this, so we really need to get this done.
Number 4, the E-rate contracts in there, so Scott can help with this too. What we're approving is that we would like funding for this. We're approving the project. Now, if they're not funded, we don't have to do that. The nice part of all the E-rate is we get 50% of the back of the cost. So what means the project's done for half the cost. We look at it, we approve it. So Scott, you can do a little more.
Yeah, so everything on there that we're doing E-rate this year, I would say it's basically needed to the point. So there's a couple of different things that will happen. There's category 1 and category 2. Category 1 is our internet service, and we're actually going to be going up tremendously. Right now we're at 400 megabits or megabytes download, and we're going to a gig, but we're actually going to spend half. Our cost is going down from around $1,400 a month to that's a total before the E-rate funding, and it's going from $1,400 to about $700. So then our actual bill will actually be only about $350, but that's for a gig speed, which is awesome. So that'll be through United Private Networks. And then also in category 1, I'm asking for, which we hope will be funded, but I would ask you guys to pay for it whether or not it gets funded, is the secondary internet line that will come into West. And that won't be fiber, but it will be through MediaCom through coax. It'll only be a 100 gig line, or 100 megabyte line, but that'll be our backup internet line. So if anything gets cut, the schools should not go down, which is nice. So basically, if our main line gets cut, everything will get routed through West. If the dark fiber between the campuses get cut, everybody still stays up, which is good. The rest of that stuff is category 2, which basically what I've been told is nobody can guarantee the funding, but nothing's been ever denied. And everything we're asking for is very straightforward, and the cabling is needed. So basically, in the both the elementaries and the middle school, the cable is from 1995, and that's starting to be a problem, especially as we go to a new phone system, which we need next year, and we're going to need new cabling. That's all out there right now. So, and the other parts of that are there's with the cabling we're moving the core over at West because it's up in that custodian closet about 7-8 feet up, and we'll move it over to the new storage area, so it's actually accessible. And we'll put the backup servers that are currently kind of in a back closet. They'll go there. We'll run a fiber line that with the fiber line that was run in the middle school is actually an incorrect fiber run. The new closet to the ICN closet was actually the wrong fiber, so we're going to correct that. Also going to run a fiber line to the new data closet over at West to the new core. And then there's some general UPSs that we need to back up. Some of our data closets have no UPSs in them, so we need to have that kind of backup in there. So it's all pretty straightforward stuff, and that's why we think it will get funded. So
the 472 drops. That's across Central and West.
That's across the middle school, Central, and West. So the majority of that is the 4 labs. If you actually think about it, not the majority. That's not fair to say, but that the labs do take up. There's 36 drops in each lab, and so you have 4 labs right there, and then basically every phone, besides the new areas, every phone at all 3 of those schools is a digital phone, and we're going to IP phones. So every digital connection needs to be switched over. What we are also saying in that is, and this was just an estimate there, the actual E-rate contract was for $350 as a minimum to $1,000. So if we needed more, we still get this rate, which is nice. We also can bring it back down if we feel like we want to bring it back down after we actually come through with, going back through and saying, do we really need this drop or here, here, here? Well, then we can actually bring it back down to 350, which would bring our cost back down. But we're still getting it for half. It would be funded half. But 471 is about where that's already cutting back. That's basically putting 3 drops in each classroom.
The 250 is our cost? Or that's
The 250 is the total cost.
okay, so we potentially get.
We would get it for 125.
Gotcha. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Furniture is the next one. Any questions? Morgan, Old Cream Theaters for what grade?
Whole school.
The whole school? Okay. They come and do it at your building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Miranda, you want to talk about the Sanford Harmony? There's no cost to this, just something that the elementary counselors wanted to.
Yeah,
some
the
curriculum.
elementary counselors had gone to a conference and they were sharing on this resource, and it's a free resource. So they reached out, and it's free for all, the whole school, and their lessons that the counselors can do, but also partner with classroom teachers, and it's around social emotional learning. And so they reached out and kind of piloted a couple of the lessons with a couple grade levels, and they really enjoyed that. There's no cost to the district for the materials, and it's a free program. So I'm not sure the donor that has funded all of this cost, but do you remember? No. But it was something that is a free service for schools, especially with social emotional learning and wanting to beef that up. So the counselors thought it was a great program, plus it's free, so it's free materials that we can
I
supplement.
would say free, not
I read it a couple times,
Right.
what the obligation was. The only thing it looks like we have to do is provide feedback and maybe an interview or something, so.
Yeah.
like how well it works.
And I think what essentially what they'll do is, there's like a survey that the counselors will fill out, plus they might do like a Google Hangout or something and get some feedback that way for an interview, so.
But either way, we have no problem trying to implement it and whatever
I don't think
framework that they
so.
feel.
I think they were very excited about it. That was the session that they loved when they attended, and so they're very excited about getting that into, and supplementing that into the curriculum.
Story Kimberly, again, that's drivers, transportation. The last one, UMB, not like we have a choice, but evidently Baker's Trust is merging, and we have to kind of sign off that we are aware that they're merging. But not like you have a choice. No, it doesn't matter.
All right. All right. Any other questions or comments on the consent items? Motion? Diane?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments and communications? Any public comments?
And then I have 3 that were listed. Any questions on graduation rate? We have 4 students that did not, or on that graduation rate. And Mrs. Phillips worked with all 4, trying to get them through as much as she could.
I noticed that this wasn't on the news that we went up, and because
Yeah,
last year they jumped all over us because we went down.
Yeah.
But it didn't, they didn't say anything because we went up. It's nice.
So the all-state speech recognition in there, that's always nice to see those. I think last year, we talked about a Europe trip that our students were eligible for. There was nothing, no obligation on the North Polk that Mrs. Overseas husband sponsoring, but our kids are eligible to go, so she's gave a little update on how many were going in there for your information.
How many were going there?
It was
6 or 7.
Yeah.
7 North Polk students have signed up and a parent.
Don't we usually have just 3 to 4, Cynthia, that don't graduate? They just drop just whatever intervention. I know Joel, they're struggle with that.
2016 was the first year we had 0.
Yeah, we had 0.
We had
But-
everybody graduate.
But it kind of hovers around the 3 to.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So my goal was 0.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was
Yeah.
somewhat left over from some students that had extended
graduation dates, and we're attending an alternative center. And then due to life moving and things like that, just weren't able to finish and complete. So, yeah, I'm going to assume our rate is going to continue to get closer to 100, if not be 100. So we've got good programming going on now for them.
I'm not knocking your efforts, it's just that the news last year, they're all over it.
These were some alternative situations.
Thank you.
Number 7, Administrator, the floor is yours.
So if you have any questions over the report provided, I want to introduce just some, let you know that we're working with early warning system, which is something that we'll use both for our at-risk programming, but also if we're to ever implement additional tiers of support in our system, referred to as MTSS. This gives us some good information that we're tracking. I listed what some of that is there. Put a plug in for our Spring Family Engagement Night a week from tomorrow. We're sending out email information to high school and 8th grade parents, hopefully to get people in here. We've got some great sessions. We got 7 sessions, and so it's really great information. If people can attend that, and if not, we put in there clearly, because we're going over some 8th grade registration information. Anyone that can attend that, the kids will get all the information from the counselors and I next week, and parents can always contact counselors if they have questions about it. We'll also send any PowerPoint information after the family engagement night. We'll send that to all the families also. So really trying to make sure they've got all the information that they need. Put some upcoming events there. I want to let you know we've begun we call it the PAC group. It's the Principal Advisory Committee. There's about 12 to 15 kids that are on that this year. We've met 3 different times. Hopefully we'll meet a 4th time in 4th quarter. Really, it's a group of students for me to get some feedback from. So the reward for them and being part of this is we usually do some type of leadership development the first 10 or 15 minutes that I present to them or that we go through with them. And then, because I'm seeking their time and their feedback about things that are going on at the school. So we'll send out applications again for that this spring. It's open to any student. They can apply. All they have to do is fill out why they want to be part of the committee and have a teacher sign off recommending them. So hopefully that'll continue to grow. Got good feedback from that. And we're working on revising the Comet Cares program, which is our version of a Silver Cord program. So Silver Cord is recognized nationally as basically the volunteer service hours and students that earn so many hours above and beyond their service that they already do in a school system and community. They can be recognized at graduation, wearing a Silver Cord.
How come ours are purple?
So, because ours is a Comet Care, it's not a Silver Cord program. I've had the same questions. So we're going to transition, and so I have been having meetings historically with how our current Comet Cares was created, and it was probably 9 or 10 years ago as a way to just be able to recognize students at different levels of hours completed. It's not set up as restricted as Silver Cord is, and the idea with Silver Cord is it's truly those that have a heart for service, both school but also community. So there's some restrictions, like you can do so many hours at school volunteer, but we also want to do so many hours in the community to expose them to lots of different opportunities. And it's above and beyond the service you're already doing to earn other awards. So if you're volunteering time because you're part of NHS or because you're part of a confirmation group at church and they get confirmed, you got to put in so many hours, those are already denoted hours for something else. This is to denote hours above and beyond what you're already required to do to earn things you're already in. Therefore, the amount of hours is often less than what our current Comet Cares program requires, like 300 hours to get toward the Purple Cord, which is pretty excessive when you look at a Silver Cord program at any school, which we have. We looked at about 25 different programs. I started one out at Avoca, and so we've been through this process before, really trying to rein it in and make sure that it's accessible for kids that are completing these volunteer hours above and beyond, because that's what we want to encourage and we want to celebrate that. But also it's valuable and it's accurate. So there's been some issues because of the number of hours that maybe it's not all above and beyond and legitimate in regards to the silver cord philosophy. So we're going to do a reset with that. So we've been working on this for about 2 months. Got lots of different feedback put in. So just FYI, that'll be coming out sometime in April, and we'll get all the information to the kids. There'll be a grandfathered in period for students that are already juniors and sophomores and so on. And the idea with silver cord is you're putting in hours every year. So with our Comet Cares one, they could technically log 300 hours in a year and not do any volunteer then the next, I don't know how often that happened, but there just really weren't restrictions with how that was set up. So that'll be run also out of the counselor's office because we have to pre-approve hours. That's because the silver cord has specifications that you follow. But it works, it makes perfect sense because when people contact the school seeking student volunteers, oftentimes that's through the counseling office, and oftentimes the counselors are connected with outside agencies that have opportunities for volunteers. So that'll be an exciting change. It'll be a great opportunity for kids, and I think we'll be able to recognize many of our students that are going above and beyond for service hours. So.
Will we still recognize silver honor roll? Because right now they're wearing silver cords, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're talking, there's a lot of cords and medals. Potentially some excessive amount, just because we've got a lot of people that don't even purchase them. They wear them and then give them, and the intent initially when those were all started is I guess people were purchasing those, so the school had purchased a quantity of them for people to come by. Well, what we're finding is, and over the past 5-6 years, that there's like this stock, but like people aren't, so we need to revisit how what we're recognizing and how we're recognizing it. Is it a cord, is it a medal? In some cases it's both, sometimes it's a stole. So we need to organize that. We have it. There'll be no changes for this graduation year, but it's something early next fall we'll need to look at and really reorganize how we're recognizing honors with that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Outside of my written report, just to piggyback off of Mrs. Phillips, I've been working with AAU to devise an early warning system platform that we can pull different data points to have a more consistent look at potential at-risk lists and different things. That's been good work. I spoke this morning to early education majors at Iowa State on a principal panel this morning. I can say I reported before we've had excellent candidates from Iowa State, and the future's bright out of there. That small auditorium was packed with both men and women teachers, so I was proud to speak on that panel this morning. And just like to publicly thank Paul Carstensen over spring break days. He was able to construct a couple cubes that we need for a couple students that have moved in recently for different things and with our programming and whatnot, and it was nice to see it go up so quickly. Just appreciate his efforts. Anything else, Mark?
I just wanted to give you an update about conferences. We had 98% attendance at conferences, so that just shows great support from families. And attending conferences, there was good data that was shared, a lot about student growth was shared, and it was great to see the work samples that teachers shared with parents. And I think our literacy is getting stronger, our writing especially is getting stronger. And you with elementary kids, you probably saw some beginning of the year writing and where they are now and how much their skills have increased. So teachers have really deepened their knowledge, put in a lot of work with these reading and writing and phonics units of study, so it's just getting stronger and stronger.
Thank you.
Diane, I want to introduce you to Corey Allison.
I assumed that's who you were. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Concerning conferences, Cynthia, any concern? The attendance at the conferences at the high school is
Almost 40%. Actually really good for high school.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
40%?
In the springtime, a lot of schools have around 25 and 30%.
Well, no, but I'm actually surprised it was 40. That was my whole point. When I was
good or
no,
low?
I thought it was way less.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I didn't go unless they made me.
I
never went.
We had more
unless they
attendance this
specially
spring
asked me to come
here than what we've had, which was really positive. It did, yeah, compared to elementaries that typically go for that 95 to 100% because it's one-on-one conferences. With that, it changes drastically at the secondary level, and 9-12, it really reduces.
We just had like 3 teachers in a row that hadn't had but 1 or 2 people. So
Yeah.
I was like, I was contemplating, does it just need to be by appointment? Do we have to make them
If they
sit
have
there all
an issue
evening?
with your child that you probably never experienced,
But
specifically to meet with the said teacher.
I will say what's helped is using the My Conference scheduler because teachers are able to look, and now anyone can still just drop in also and have a conference, but they're able to get a lot of other stuff done too. And we have quite a few teachers that work together that evening and do planning and things like that. So it's not necessarily lost time. It's always that issue at the high school level of how do we get parents back into the building to talk conferences. It's just it's a different beast. But I would say that we're pretty typical, if not above average, for if we can get around 40% of our students represented. Spring's always lighter than the fall, also. So,
I am
but it's
shocked
a good,
it's
a good
40%.
question.
And that was for spring?
Yeah, this is for
Wow.
spring.
Okay.
I want to go on record that I was part of the 40%.
Thank you.
Me too.
I recommend you, here's your prize.
Okay. I do, outside of my report, I just want to highlight kind of the outside of the box thinking of John and Kelly, and they, he kind of had that included in his middle school report, but I think it's worth just kind of giving a shout out to both of them. They kind of collaborated with Gilbert and Roland Story, and when you think of secondary, there's a lot of singletons, and they had an opportunity to get them together. The instructional coaches in all the schools led them through some different activities around essential questions and the social studies standards, and I think it was a really great day for our singletons that are can get together with some other teachers in their content area and talk, and so they went up to Gilbert and did that. I think there's also opportunities, you can see in his notes that they want to continue that, and we would host and then maybe go also to like Polk or Roland Story and set those up. So I think that was a really positive thing, outside the box thinking, that really helps us kind of have conversations with other teachers in the area as well that are kind of looking for somebody to collaborate with. I also want to give a shout out to Scott. He led his first technology meeting last night, and we're looking to continue to expand some of the ideas and areas around some of the standards with technology and how we can get some of those into even kindergarten, starting doing some things and what types of devices that we are going to be putting in at those different grade levels. And then the last thing is on April 10th, we set a parent partnership meeting. Dr. Mark's going to present on some demographic data. We're going to be reaching out to Junior Achievement. I think it's Colin Lane, coming and talking about what that looks like and partnering with other businesses to get some of that going in the district as well, and hearing more about that. And also, I'm going to be kind of going over some of the statewide assessment of student progress, which was Iowa assessment, some of the things for parents to kind of consider some changes in that. The latest update on that is if things are approved in September, we should be getting our scores in October of next year. That's probably one of the biggest changes that parents need to expect. Like, we won't get our scores back until October now. That's what they told us at our last curriculum.
Is that just gonna be for that 1 year since it's so new?
Yes.
No. And then technology-wise, is it gonna be pen and paper, or is it gonna be, Scott?
We don't have a choice next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be
All
all
right.
computer next year.
I give
No, I'm
computer
just-
test on Friday, so let's
Yes.
see how it goes.
Fill us in.
Because I know I knew there were some questions about if it's gonna be fully technology, or if it's gonna be the old style of pen and paper.
So there's not an option next year. I think we can still provide some number 2 pencil, a number 2 pencil test for students that still maybe need a writing portion to be able to write it. So there's still an opportunity for that. But I do think, I don't know, James, what you guys have learned about and everything, but I think some of the features that we can push out for students to allow them to use all those features to help them assess is a good thing. It's just, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we've done some practice tests and things like that. So this week we're going to hand out like their little test cards tomorrow with their names and login information. Just hopefully everyone shows up to school. Taking a 90-minute test.
Right?
The last board meeting, you talked about the new science curriculum, and one of the questions I asked is that professional development is all on the front end. Is it front end loaded, or is they going to provide that throughout the 6 years?
We can piece that out. Basically, some of the information that she shared with me was that it was probably to get them up and going with the curriculum. They've done and navigated a lot of that, and there's been support even, so we can really tailor that to what our needs are. I don't know if we have some new people that come on, I think we can assess what that looks like with our instructional coaches and myself, but also piece together some of that with that curriculum. But I think what I understand is the teachers can really take an assessment of what is a part of that, and we can really tailor it to our needs. And if there's leftover, we can use those, whether it's virtual or coming here. So we could do more of like a buffet option for us.
Great. All right. Thank you. Lindsay?
Just want to add on to what Cynthia and Morgan, I know, and all schools are doing their early warning system. The process was, and what do I say, I geek out about this stuff. Yeah. So meeting with the AEA team and meeting with them about the at-risk supports that we have here and the social emotional behavior, they've done an audit on each school, and they've met, and I appreciate the principals and counselors meeting with each school to kind of see what supports are in place and then where are gaps. So what I just got this morning was a district-wide EWS system from Tyler, and then that will have each individual school that we'll be able to go in and dig into. And it's really exciting to see then what we can do to hone in on what kiddo needs what. Do we have it? If not, how do we get it? And put it in place here at North Polk. So kudos to the building principals for getting that as in the forefront and working with them on that. And then kudos with the AA team for just taking off and going. And then they still want to continue to work with us kind of one-on-one next year as we get that up and running for our kiddos. So thanks to all the buildings with that.
Thank you.
Beyond my report, a couple things. First of all, I want to thank the board for additional person in the activities department. I went to the Iowa High School Athletic Directors Association annual convention this year, and I was able to look at things in a different perspective, thinking that there's going to be somebody else to work with, and what can we do for middle school kids, what we can do for high school kids. So thank you for that. Something you may hear about twice this year, we're going to bring in, it's called What You Don't See trailer. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but I've been working with Riley Blaylock, and a trailer comes in, they have it staffed with officers. Riley will be staffed in there, and parents will have an opportunity to go through the trailer, and it's set up like a bedroom. This is the teenager's bedroom. And it will point out what your teenagers may be doing in their bedrooms, where they may be hiding things, what those things look like, vape devices, marijuana, any of those things. So it'll be an opportunity for parents to take a look at it. It's going to be at 2 of our track meets, actually. It's going to be out here when we have people. And kids can go through it too.
they learn what their parents are
going to So anyway, I'm kind of excited about it. We did it at Nevada last basketball season, so we'll just see how it goes. And we're going to open it up to middle school and high school parents. So I'm glad they're taking the lead on that. The last thing is, I've been looking into what it would take to start a bowling program. It's a state sanctioned sport. It happens in the wintertime, both boys and girls. Wintertime is our least, summer and winter are the least participation, so we could really look to have something extra there. There are some challenges, mainly where we bowl. So, but I am researching that a little bit, and so more later.
Does Huxley have, or does Madrid have a bowling league?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's where they don't have a high school team.
Right.
But they have the lanes. So I've
That's what I was wondering. I mean,
They have great tender wings too.
I know.
I've been in contact, yeah. I've been in contact with them. It's a 30-minute bus trip from Madrid and all that. And then, so go there, come back, and you look at postings. There's some things. So, and Ankeny has the new B&B one, but they built those non-regulation. So,
Why?
Off topic. Yeah, I don't know, but even Ankeny's not going to be using those because they're not regulation.
They're too short.
The approach evidently is, I don't know enough about bowling to tell you. I just know that.
So where does Ankeny go?
Pleasant Hill, Escape Chamber, along with Bondurant. There's like 3 or 4 schools that are at the Escape Chamber over there in Pleasant Hill, not Alton.
How far is it to Perfect Games?
I'm not sure.
It's the same place.
It's probably very similar.
How are we doing on the golf?
Good. We just got to figure out how we're paying for it. We came up with the, Dr. Moore, do you remember the number? 3,000, 3,200? We came up with an agreement. They were good.
So did they cap us then?
No. I actually presented what ADM does with their course and gave some suggestions. They never wanted us to use the course, so we're going to set it up with our coaches. Our coaches are actually going to set up tee times, and they're going to put them on the course, so the kids will be spread out through the course. They won't be all clumped up there at the chipping green, drilling each other across the green from each other. But so yeah, it's really good so far. I don't know if we just get it dry enough to get out there, but yeah. And Coach Albertson and Coach Fjelland are on board and excited to get it going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's our status on our coaching searches?
We are we're interviewing football coaches tomorrow. We're using a committee for that. Volleyball coaches, the head volleyball coach, that's the head, Dave, I assume you're talking about.
Yep.
The head volleyball coaches, we're still in a little bit of a holding pattern there. We have some applicants, but I'd like it to continue to expand. Not that our applicants are poor at all. They're good applicants, but I'd like to see if we can get some more, and if there happens to be some teaching positions open, that would help too. So, yeah. And then we have a speech position to cover, but I think if that's a head speech, but I think we won't have any problem with that.
What are resignations be for teaching positions?
We haven't even set contracts out yet, so it's 20 days after contracts or something, after 20 days.
Thanks. Anything else? Thank you.
Randy?
I wanted to follow up with Dave Potter's question to me today about the extreme number of bills for M&C. It was a tough winter. You all know that. But the 2 insurance claims that I've submitted, the first one for the January 15th single-phase power loss The two invoices that I have from that event were $3,275. I'm in a struggle with Hartford Steam Boiler to recognize one of them as being legit. They don't think it is. So I've got EMC involved in that to try to sort through and identify it. We had pumps, the main pumps in the building were running without flow water, and it wiped out the glands in the pump. So those all had to be replaced. And it was $1,887. And they're disputing that. So I'm still in the process of arguing that one. If they agree with that one, because of our $2,500 deductible, we will have $775 back to us. Not a lot, but at least it's a little. The air handler that froze at Central, that's a total of $8,041. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if that money's been, we've seen that money yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to Janet or whoever receives that stuff from EMC. But I didn't get any kickback on that at all. $1,786 of that was paper loss. When the water came down on papers, the air handler repair was $3,100, and the restarting of the boiler and all the systems that morning was $3,112. So a total of $8,041, which would make that about $5,541 back to us. So that makes that $13,000 whatever bills that we had, reduces it a little bit, hopefully. And then the power loss that we had on the 26th, which was freaking identical to the other one, except it blew the other leg at the middle school. So we lost 2 of 3 over the course of a month. And that one took down part of the town, so it wasn't just us. But that one, I haven't seen the bills for that one yet. We had to restart 21 heat pumps by hand in this building. That was the only major event we had from that event. We didn't lose anything of catastrophic nature in Central or the middle school, which were both affected. And I think that was from the quick work of mainly Paul, who got in here right away, and with the help of a couple other custodians, got things shut down really quick. What this has done for us is set up some protocols that, now, granted, they have replaced those lines that feed into the middle school. They did that right before break, spring break. So they replaced all of that underground. But in the event that we have something like that happen again, we now know what to shut down in what buildings, for sure. So
it shouldn't happen because you replaced all 3 legs now, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what exactly is Hartford Steam Boiler disputing?
They're just denying that had any bearing on the power loss.
Okay.
And I'm still working with EMC, and the guy from Hartford is, I don't know, on vacation or whatever. He'll be back Friday to follow up with him again. But I'm hoping to get that resolved very soon.
Do you have a claims number that you could reference to me? Can you send that to me, Randy?
I don't.
Just send it to me an email tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
If you would, thank you.
Hey, can I revisit one other thing, Randy? Can you get paint off a sidewalk?
It's really hard.
Okay.
You got to grind it off.
That's what I was wondering, or sandblast possibly.
That one out there bother you?
Okay. I asked about it last year, I know. And I just walked on it the other day, so it reminded me of it.
How are we sitting for snow?
Hopefully it's done.
Question for you.
I have one more set of invoices, but they're not as large. They were for the last event. Hope, knock on wood. I don't care. I could do an anti-snow dance. I don't know what, but
I want to see that.
I would like to see that. Could you go out for the camera? Could you go out for the camera and make sure we get that?
Pictures are back at spring.
Janet, since you're sitting in for Lisa? You wanna-
No, I'm.
No? Okay. Jen's not here. Mr. Reeves?
I don't have anything to add unless you have questions.
Neat idea of hiring a student.
Worked out well.
Good.
Speaking of, how was West End Eats doing? Are they going strong still?
Yes.
Every 2 weeks,
So
is it?
good.
Every 2?
Everybody loves
Yeah.
it, yes.
Yeah.
Very good. And they're doing a Dutch Letter Bake-Off for the end of April. That's okay. And I got to taste it today. It's so good, because I challenged them. I'm like, this has to be as good as the Central College rep that comes and brings us real Dutch letters. They've almost nailed it. I'm doing hard work during the day with this.
Would you send a message that's been almost a year since we had handballs in here?
Oh, I know.
We'll have them do board appreciation again.
I thought we were talking nutrition here.
You said you didn't have anything to add, so I'm talking. Mr. Roden, anything else to add?
Other than, I just hit on that, we did have our meeting last night, so some of the people in the room were tired, and I know that. But I thought it was a good start of a conversation. And we looked at a lot of devices there. Specifically, we looked at the phones that kind of narrowed it down to the phones that we'll be looking at. And I'm meeting with the secretaries on Monday morning, because we have a late start. And I'm gonna have them look at the phones also, and we'll make a choice from there.
Scott, you got an estimated cost on what that phone replacement's gonna be?
Yes.
Are we gonna like to hear it?
How about actually, I'm very happy with it. The first thought that we would have is that when I talked to Dr. Mark about it, we budgeted in or around 100, and it's below that significantly.
Not negotiated yet.
And not negotiated yet, but they know that they were being competitive, and we're in that right now. The range is 79 to 85, but that's with all our phones, all gateways, installation. A lot of them with multi-year warranties.
And our servers are all up to date.
Say it again.
Our servers?
Servers are golden.
Golden?
Yep. And that would be. Are you talking about a relationship with the phones? Or
no,
just
our
general?
servers.
Oh yeah, the servers are fine.
December.
Yeah, no. If anything, that the servers are fine. Especially we kind of going on what Randy was talking about with those two events. We did have to deal with those issues with the servers, but we're back up in them.
Yep. Now, other than the phone, I mean, any other major overhauls you can see in the next couple, 3, 4 years?
Yes.
And some of them were in that E-rate.
A lot of them are in the E-rate, but as there are some improvements that we need. But I want to, before we talk about that, I'd probably get you more information. But there are some major things that we need going forward. But a lot of it would be spaced over time.
Okay, all right. I was just curious.
Yep.
We're pretty excited about getting a $20,000 grant from the EPA. We were notified last Tuesday, excuse me, that North Polk has been selected to win that grant. Other than that, everything's moving along in transportation.
All right, new business. 2019-20 calendar year, back over the calendar year.
So that should be this calendar year with the agenda thing. It's 18-19. It didn't get changed, but it's 18-19 calendar, so we're just approving that we're making those days that.
Okay.
That's all we need to do. schedule. I know Dave said there's a question about that, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with early dismissal on Friday, we're done the 31st. Then teachers come back. Teachers are here the afternoon, 31st, and then they're back 2 days in June for teacher work days. And then they're done.
Motion?
Second. Okay, so Dave, Diane?
Yep. In order with the change of the 2019 to 2019, right?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
So date, time, and place for hearing on fiscal year 2020 budget. April 10th.
So moved.
Second.
And we include the time of 5:30 on there, Janet?
Yep.
Okay.
So is there another meeting on that?
Right now, we'll be done for that one. Yeah, we'll do it. Let's go for it.
So that was Dave and then Diane, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move that we move the April meeting to Wednesday, April 24th at 6 o'clock. The regular board meeting.
I approve that Dave looks over the bills prior to the meeting in order to avoid penalties and finance charges.
Second. Well, we got the number I first.
Can't we do a motion?
Yeah, no, you can hold it.
Okay.
Yep, there's no motion.
That's why I added it. Just trying to move along.
All right. All right, so, Diane first?
Well, he moved on the first one and I moved on the second one, so yeah, and he seconded it.
All of them.
All in favor?
Aye.
When we say prior to, what's the prior to?
Jenna, when do we go back to when you need to have bills approved by, so.
So probably not 30 minutes before?
Like this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
I know,
Yeah.
we're good.
If you, do you have a date you want them approved by, Janet?
When do they need to be
That's the
approved?
question, so.
Oh, so like for this, the 24th?
Yeah, so in other words, what's your one that, so
So-
Sam's Club was the one that would.
Yes.
When that one
was the
due?
issue.
Janet, you get them to me, I can get them approved within 24 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do.
then that works.
Okay.
As long as it's not a Friday at 8.
Well, it might
PM.
be.
Probably some interesting.
All right. Item D, flexibility account resolution, used to pay for the new science curriculum.
Sounds like that.
What is, the flexible, that's not the flexible spending.
It's the new legislation they call it
Okay.
flexible spending account that boards can now transfer money. Yep.
And that's the, what we were just talking about, right?
Yep.
Yep. Is that what it's called?
Amplify.
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 So
15, amplify.
So moved.
Dave,
second, Keith.
all in favor?
Aye.
I vote. Sale of equipment, stationary, recumbent bikes, old weight racks, old weight benches.
Let's do it.
So moved.
Okay.
Potter, then Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution authorizing the redemption of general obligation school bond series 2011 dated September 15th, 2011, and levying a tax for fiscal year 2019-20 for the redemption of general obligation school bonds.
Okay, so this is the thing we do every year. So whatever our payment is, I don't know, let's say it's $390, but we levy $405. It's that 15 cents that we still levy for, and then we pay off bonds early, which is sets the district up for better bonding capacity that will be, so, it's in good shape.
Yep. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Keith.
Keith? Second. Potter, all in favor?
Aye.
With that move with Bankers Trust and all that, Owen, he's separate from that, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
okay, all right. Board policy updates, review the 300 series.
So in that 300 series, there was two changes. One was an update to a policy that included all of our new administrators on that policy. The other one that was stricken there was not in ISB's policy set anymore. So again, a board may choose to keep it. I read through it, I don't see a purpose of it. So I would recommend you remove the rest of the policies. Nothing changed other than just the legal references were updated to be correct.
So there's the management team.
Yeah, the management team.
But then what you said was something else?
Well, there's one that talks about administrators in there, like what we will have.
Added the VPs in there.
Added the principals, and then also like Mary Jane's position added in there. So it just reflects the current positions we have. Yeah. Otherwise, I go through and I print out the ISB's recommendations, I go work over up to date except for those two policies.
Good.
In the series.
Does anyone have any concerns with getting rid of the management section?
So ISB's, this is.
Because they are a review, it does not take board action, you're simply review them and then you're done. Just
This is first reading, right? So we,
only that one policy, the rest of them you do, after you review, you're done. You just review them, there's not even board action on that. Just let you review them.
Just those two, the management team and then 303.
Right. And
what's our rules on changing them? I didn't get these reviewed, I'll just be honest. If I reviewed it, didn't like one. What's the process?
So then there's the first reading of modifying it, second reading.
And that could be any board meeting?
At any.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So what's the, I guess, the main driver for removing the management team? Did they give any guidance as to why they struck that?
No.
Have we had a management team?
Not called a management team. Do I consider one, or I've got all the directors, I can consider the management team as well.
I guess this goes to, because this calls out who is a part of the, the recruitment or release of employee process, right?
Yeah.
So without this kind of guidance, then what is there a?
To me, when I think of a management team, I think of a much larger district. Several.
I guess when I think of management team, I do think of you and then your building principals. I mean, I guess that's what I envision as a management team.
Okay, so that's probably why they took it out, because then there's the administrative team down there.
Yeah.
So they've got that separate, so it's duplication.
Is there
under
language
administration?
Is there language in the administrative team related to recruitment or release of employees? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that falls under more of the employees section, which would fall under the next section that we reviewed. Okay. Yeah. Next section.
So the administrative team is not in this management section, is that what you're saying?
No, they are. That's that one that would change, James.
Yeah, okay, so I see the strikes on the management team, but you said there's a similar one that talks about the administrative team.
3031.
Administrative employees, administrative positions. PDF page 14.
Yeah. That doesn't really talk about a team, right? It just talks about what the positions are.
Correct. And that's aligned with our current structure.
Did ISB give any reason why to start the management team?
No. It can stay. I mean,
Yeah, because it talks about dispute resolution and stuff like that, because where else would that have been picked up at, I guess is my question.
All that is in the employee section, which is the 400s.
Okay.
That's probably why they took a lot of that out.
Can we table this?
You can, that one, yeah.
Can we table just, I guess what I wanna try to, I just wanna make sure I understand then with the overlap with the other sections, because again, the way I read this, it makes me, I kinda like this, but if it's covered up elsewhere,
Let me
then
ask them.
I'd just be curious, I'd be curious what the rationale was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to
This
hear
is
that,
like
because I'm with you, Keith, it kind of gives us a clear path if there's,
Yeah.
if it's not spelled out someplace else, I'd say keep it.
I'll ask them.
But if it's already covered in some 400 or something, and we already touch on that, then, but this does define.
When I
Maybe
look
just
at
call it
there's-
what we call it.
Well, there's one policy that we have, like how to handle concerns, there's also another one coming in the section of if you have a dispute with your supervisor, how to handle it, that's in the 400 section, which will review next, that's in there already.
Okay.
That's the, maybe that's why, but I'll double check with them, that could be the reason.
So I move to table, so are we gonna, do we need to, well, since this is the first reading, what do we?
So you're only doing first reading on 3031.
Okay, and that was the align with.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
But then the first item, no review of 300 series?
So if you just do, so there's no motion then, so when you review, then this stays. The policy is strictly just stays. 3012, which is fine, because you can take it out at any point.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So you reviewed them, and then you can do a first reading of 3031.
We don't need a motion on that or anything, right?
Just on the first reading you do.
On the 300 series, we just reviewed it.
Yep.
Okay.
I just need a motion on the 3031.
A motion on the first reading of the 303.1 administrative positions.
So moved.
Keith?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0. Okay. A motion to go into exempt session. Negotiations.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.